On 8 swept away with only one body recovered.
And also coming up tonight, government increases daily feeding grants for special schools from 8 cities to 15 cities, boosting support for vulnerable learners nationwide.
Tonight, Supreme Court dismisses consolidated cases challenging removal of Gertrude Torkornoo as Chief Justice.
Later in business news, a senior fellow at the Africa Policy Lens says stable exchange rates and local refining are critical to curbing rising transport inflation.
We'll bring you details of some international news of some migrants in Spain who applied for legal status in its recent amnesty drive have obtained temporary work permits. Thank you so much for staying with us. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. You can join us there as we get interactive and settle for the details beginning from here.
A desperate search continues for victims of Monday's devastating floods at Alogboshi near Achimota, where 8 people were swept away. Only one body has been recovered so far. Behind the grim statistics are shattered families, destroyed homes, and survivors struggling to come to terms with an unimaginable tragedy. A report by Stanley Nibleu.
At Alogboshi, 8 people are feared dead after Monday's flood. 7 bodies remain missing, with only 1 recovered so far. Personnel from the Ghana Police Service were at the community on Wednesday afternoon to retrieve the body from the drain.
There were 2 ladies who missed their kids. Okay. Yes. Apart from that, today they retrieved another body at this site just an hour ago. Okay. Yes. And this stream, I wouldn't say it's a river, but it has not been like this at first. As I said, I've been here for long. It was something small that I even wished to jump over.
Waste materials are scattered everywhere. A visit to the storm drain reveals the scale of destruction left behind. Residents say the drain, which has widened over the years due to erosion, has become a major danger whenever it rains heavily. At this location, 2 drains converge, creating a powerful tributary. During Monday's downpour, the enormous volume of water from both drains generated a strong current that forced floodwaters back into nearby homes, inundating properties several meters away. Those living closest to the drain suffered the worst impact. It was at this very spot that 6 people were swept away. Residents say 8 wooden kiosks serving as homes for several families were washed away. 1 kiosk housed a nuclear family of 4, including a week-old baby, while another was occupied by 2 young women. Both the occupants and the structures were swept away by the raging floodwaters. A surviving neighbor recounts the horrifying moments.
Not 2 ladies, there are about 8 people. They die. 8 die from here. The water take them away. 8.
How did it happen?
Oh, the water just back to them and take them away with the kiosk.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's supposed to mean that this is where they've been sleeping. This is where they've been living.
Sleeping. There they be living here. Together with their husband, everything. They be living here.
For many survivors, fear has replaced hope, with some considering relocating, while others struggle to rebuild their lives after losing everything. Residents say if they are to remain in the community through the rest of the rainy season, government must urgently reconstruct the drain to prevent another tragedy. Communal search teams are voluntarily combing the drain area in search of their missing neighbors. Meanwhile, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Agnes Namo-Mollati, and the National Disaster Management Organization have handed over relief items to Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies (MMDAs) for onward distribution to survivors in affected communities, while commiserating with bereaved families. Earlier, additional relief items were presented to the Krowa Municipal Assembly for onward distribution to affected families and individuals within the Krowa municipality.
We are doing not less than 4 affected municipalities in a day. If we can stretch to 6 and 7, we will do that. And so you prioritize the most vulnerable. And when I say the most vulnerable, I'm talking about children, persons with disabilities, pregnant women, and then the aged. Then you consider others. We know most are already vulnerable, and we don't want the situation to worsen because of the disasters.
In Greater Accra, 22 of the existing 29 MMDAs were affected by the floods. Stanley Niblew, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, even as residents in flood-prone communities continue to count the cost of Monday's damper, the weather forecast suggests the rains are far from over. Well, the Ghana Meteorological Agency predicts rainfall from Thursday through to Sunday, although forecasters say the intensity is not likely to match Monday's storm. But with drains still choked and some communities waterlogged, Evelyn Tingma finds out how prepared the Metropolitan Municipal and District Assemblies are in dealing with more rains.
The flood waters may have receded in many communities, but homes are still drying out. Businesses, individuals and families are counting their losses. In some neighborhoods, drains remain clogged with silt and debris, while stagnant water continues to pose health concerns. But the Ghana Meteorological Agency has forecast rainfall from Thursday through to Sunday. Meteorologist Frederick Kujo, however, says the expected rains are not likely to be as intense as Monday's downpour.
Outdoor activities for this weekend are going to be disrupted a little bit because of the moderate to heavy rains we are anticipating, especially for the coastline, especially for Friday into Saturday morning. So for Sunday also, we are anticipating that it's going to be mostly cloudy for the day with intermittent slight rains.
He urged residents in flood-prone areas to take precautions as the ground remains saturated.
The ground is already saturated. Any amount of rains can cause flash flooding over low-lying areas. We advise that people live in low-lying areas.
That places the spotlight firmly on the Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies. And I ask whether emergency response teams have been activated.
We are currently dredging the upper side of the Gbemi, which is the New Town Junction, to get another free flow of the drain. And we are still doing desilting within the community. And that we expect that there will be no flooding.
Ashaiman has always been a flashpoint for floods, but the story this time around is different. The municipal chief executive, Freeman Chekpo, touts measures that have been put in place.
We did a lot of desilting, we did a lot of dredging, and we did a lot of evacuation last year to early part of this year. So the critical area that we needed to do for us not to experience flooding, thankfully we did it just a week before the rains.
Some assemblies say they are clearing drains and monitoring flood hotspots. For many living in flood-prone areas, preparedness is no longer just about weather forecasts. It is about visible action before the next storm arrives. Evelyn Tingma, TV3 News, Accra.
Still on the floods, a retired hydrological engineer and a former registrar of the Engineering Council, Engineer Wise Ametepe, is calling for a complete overhaul of Ghana's drainage system.
Monday's floods left several families homeless and claimed lives. Experts blame improper waste management, encroachment on wetlands, and poor planning. Immediate past registrar of Engineering Council, Engineer Wise Ametepe, raised concerns about the lack of coordination among agencies, which he says has worsened the crisis.
Development has moved very fast. Areas that we should adopt for solutions, we cannot have them available. So the agencies are not enforcing, not that they are failing. There's no coordination. there should be proper coordination among the agencies. If there is none, we will be bound to face this type of problems. Everybody does what he wants, and so there is a chaos. Areas that water should be stayed or be stored, we give them out. Areas that roads should pass, we give them out, and then becomes very difficult to plan.
He explained that the lower basin is not being desilted, causing flood waters to bounce back into communities.
We don't desil the Laffa Basin. We haven't created any channel for the water to be conveyed from the Laffa Basin. You desil the upstream, allow the channel to carry more water to the basin where the water cannot go back and cannot flow out. What do you expect? The water flows back into the community. The upstream of the culvert should be periodically cleaned. These things are not done.
Engineer Matafe suggested the installation of sand traps at various channels to prevent refuse from entering the lagoon.
We need to create what you call sand traps along the channels. These traps will take all the materials that come into the channel instead of spreading into the whole drainage system to block the channels and to stop continuous dredging of Korle Lagoon. This was been proposed by us. It was accepted by World Bank and it's been included in the Gary project. But till now, the sand traps are not available.
Engineer Matafe believes the completion of the Gary project will help prevent future disasters.
We're still staying on these related subjects, as a victim of Monday's flood is advocating for the payment of compensation to persons who have been affected when it was no fault of theirs. 78-year-old UK-based Ghanaian Yao Emisatha chastised local authorities for looking on while people he describes as miscreants build in waterways. George Queening reports.
The flood situation in Klagon is dire. Some residents admit that the level of destruction is totally strange to them. 78-year-old Yao Chumberima is one of them. He has virtually lost everything.
I've lived here since 2007. When I retired from London, I lived in London for 52 years, since 1972. When I came back to relax quietly. I've lived through June, July 20 times. This terrible flooding I've never witnessed it before. Because there were no encroachers at the back. But 2 years ago, I've seen some people come in the background. I don't know who gave them the permit to do what they're doing. They put up some structures illegally. I know it's illegal, but the assembly has the oversight responsibility to stop this nonsense going on.
He is considering a possible suit against local authorities for allowing people to build in waterways.
We want democracy to work. I live in London. I see democracy is driven by certain principles. The respect for the rule of law, independent integrity, and all that. But here in Ghana, I don't see one of it even working. People lie, integrity. They lie for money and then they turn the other way around. So we are not making progress. After 69 years of political independence, Ghana shouldn't be going through this.
His neighbor, Thomas Annan, who is based in the United States, has also been affected. A relief package may be coming in handy, but financial analyst and chief executive officer of Dealers Finance, Joe Jackson, is not excited about government support.
Are we going to spend 350 million every rainy season? Are we accepting this and doing the same thing that we've done in times past, which is when the disaster happens, we talk, we cry, we bury, and then we just go back to doing the same things again? Part of it should go towards implementing those things that can be implemented. We sit there as citizens, and I'll start with us, and we throw rubbish into gutters. That must be done. That must be fixed. Penalties must be driven, and we should have our communities look out for each other to say this is wrong.
Local authorities in this municipality have attributed this flooding to human-related activities. Just look right behind me, buildings on waterways. Should this persist, the worst could happen. George Queening, TV3 News, Klagon, Community 19, Accra.
And the recent floods have left many residents counting their losses, but the cost does not end with damaged homes and flooded roads. Noble Crosby Annan reports that days after the rains, some vehicle owners are now turning to washing bays, mechanics, spare parts dealers and phone repairers for help.
At this washing bay, one operator says the recent rains have brought in more vehicles for cleaning. Some of the cars coming with mud, dirt and soaked interiors after moving through flooded areas.
The work is very slow. The customers, they don't come. Well, when you come, you bring your car today, the next day your car will be dirty again. Then you have to bring it again. So they will rather wait and check if the rain will stop for the meantime before they will come to the washing bay again.
As your body and an engine and a door super.
At the mechanic shop, the impact is more specific. The mechanic says some vehicles are coming in with faults linked to floodwater exposure. Some of these problems do not show immediately. They appear days later after water affects part of the vehicle.
So can the electronics control board titru and the BCM and the Honey
They come with a difficult problem like they need to change the oil, they need to change the filters and the plugs.
Okay.
That they need to change it.
Okay. Those are the main concerns.
Those are the main concerns that they need to change it. Okay. Oh, the cost, it depends the car. Depends the car. Some 5,000 to 2,000 to 3,000. Especially when you change the oil, you change the plugs, and they will change the filters. It costs you more than 1,500 to 2,000. That one, it costs you to that period. Yeah.
Okay. But do you add, if you're adding workmanship in total, how much are we looking average?
About 3,000, 3,500. It will cost you like that. A lot of cars are coming, so automatically we get your tutu.
For car owners, this means the cost of flooding does not end when the road becomes dry.
The rain just came into the car over it, and then now all the engine is full of water and the gearbox. So I have to change it and then remove the control board, check it out whether there is a water there, then we'll see how we can refix it back. So roughly my estimate is going to be about roughly 2,000 dirham.
At the spare parts shop, some dealers say they are seeing a clear demand for particular flood-related spare parts.
And the way they are about to say your control board and there might be a kind of friend relay. It's so common where they can into Miss Parking. And the way they are and now for electrical side, no, where they are not there, where they are about because it's so common I can't into Miss Parking that it's a control board in so common where they are parking.
It do rainy season here. And your man a cost business a cost airline, car lining, bumpers, and glass.
Some customers are still buying based on individual vehicle problems, while mechanics may see flood-related faults. That does not always translate into a clear boom for spare part dealers.
I bought my wiper and then the leakage of the glass and other things.
Floods in the rain can damage phones and other electronic devices, and this repairer says he has been dealing with flood-related problems recently.
Water-related issue is other, maybe like charging system. In some other people cases, you have to change complete screen.
For many flood victims, the problem is money. Some delay repairs, some do partial fixes, some manage the damage quietly. Others simply cannot afford to repair everything at once. For many flood victims, the decision is not what needs fixing, but what they can afford to fix first. Away from the floods, let's talk some education. And government has announced an increase in the daily feeding grant for learners with special needs in special schools across the country, raising it from 8 cedis per person to 15 cedis per child. The intervention announced by the Ministry of Education is expected to improve the welfare of thousands of vulnerable learners, while reaffirming government's commitment to inclusive education.
For many children living with disabilities and special educational needs, the journey to acquiring an education has often been marked by financial challenges, inadequate resources, and limited support. One of the biggest concerns over the years has been the inadequate feeding grant for students in special schools. Stakeholders say the previous 8 cedis per child was insufficient to meet their nutritional needs. Responding to these concerns, the Minister of Education, Harun Idrisu, has announced that the government has increased the daily feeding grant to 15 cedis per learner.
Has also further increased that to 15 cedis. So feeding now in all special needs schools across the country, the grant has been adjusted upwards from 8 cedis to 15 cedis. Implementation is effective immediate from today. I know that some even started before today, but from today, now official, formal.
Currently, there are 39 special schools across the country, with more than 20 operating as boarding institutions and serving thousands of learners with diverse disabilities. The minister also announced that beginning 2027, the government will allocate 100 million cedis annually to finance programs and interventions aimed at supporting persons with special needs.
With Student Loan Trust, we have paid the tuition fees and accommodation costs of some 1,554 students. We enrolled in 65 public tertiary institutions for 2025-2026, a total investment of nearly 10 million Ghana cedis. But for the media, you quote me right, 9,812,000 Ghana cedis.
Let's now go to the court, where Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Sremsai has noted that the decision of the Supreme Court will bring finality to the long-standing challenge of the processes that led to the removal of former Chief Justice Gertrude Saki Tokono. Early on, the Apex Court unanimously dismissed the consolidated cases challenging the removal of the former Chief Justice. Lord Edwasari reports.
4 cases filed by TAFO Member of Parliament Vincent Asifua and private citizen Theodore Atakorte were merged into one suit. Both cases challenged the process for the removal of the Chief Justice, alleging that the President failed to notify the Chief Justice and obtain her comments on petitions for her removal before initiating consultations with the Council of State. 2 other suits filed by Gertrude Tokono and Center for Citizenship, Constitutional and Electoral Systems were also consolidated into a single suit. On Thursday, July 2, a 7-member panel presided over by Justice Amadou Tanko held that the suits challenging her removal lacked merit and consequently dismissed them. Reacting to the decision, Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Sremsai expressed satisfaction.
I think it simply brings this long journey to an end, and we believe that the decision would resolve all the matters, and it's also the position of the law. We would procure the ruling as the court said, the decision this afternoon. We study it, and I believe the court has done justice.
Lawyer for Theodore Atakorte also spoke to the media.
Even though I am yet to see the reasoning, I also do not want to agree with those who think that the decision by the ECOWAS court has taken the wind out of our Supreme Court sail, because you know that the ECOWAS court has already dealt with this matter in a different forum, obviously. But today's decision, because I have not seen the full reasoning, I shudder to comment on whether or not it is within reason, or that we agree with it or otherwise. But for now, we await the decision itself at 12 o'clock noon today, so that we may look at if there any redress that may follow.
The Supreme Court's decision is coming on the back of the dismissal of the suits by the former Chief Justice challenging her removal at the ECOWAS Court of Justice in June. The court held that there was no arbitrary violation of her rights and threw out all her claims, including a $10 million compensation. Lord Edwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
And now, Media General has joined this year's University of Ghana Career Fair, connecting with hundreds of students and opening pathways for internships, national service placements, and future careers. The initiative forms part of the company's commitment to nurturing the next generation of media professionals and young talents in a rapidly changing digital world.
At the City Conference Hall on the University of Ghana campus, hundreds of students from levels 100 to 400 gathered for the university's annual career fair. This year's fair featured panel discussions on topics including smart networking, personal branding, and leveraging artificial intelligence to stay competitive in today's rapidly evolving job market. Several companies and organizations, including Media General, engage students on the career opportunities while highlighting the qualities employers look for in the next generation of professionals. For Media General, attracting young talent remains a key priority as the company seeks to nurture innovative minds capable of driving the future of the media industry.
So this year's University of Ghana Career Fair
theme is Networking Smart, Leveraging AI, and it aligns with this year's strategic transformation with Media General. And so we are here to, look out for raw talents, students that are digitally inclined, that can or find themselves in the space of internship and national service. So we are here to look out for raw talent and opportunities.
Students who interacted with the company's representatives expressed enthusiasm about the prospects of joining Media General.
I'm happy to have this opportunity to meet with Media General and then their clients. They are nice people and I'm hoping to have a nice time in their work environment. I'm currently in my final year, so I want to see the opportunities you have for national service employment.
I'm just here to see what department can I fit in after I graduate, or even if it is a part-time work or an internship.
If I come here, I'm expecting that I'll get opportunity to know more about the media, so that if there is opportunity in the media space, I can get opportunity so that I can work in order to impact in the world.
The career fair also served as a reminder of the important role young people play in shaping the future of Ghana's workforce.
You're watching News 360. We're live on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. Business News is up next with Manua Full. After this break, don't go away.
I love President Charcoal. Why? When there are so many other charcoal toothpaste. That's both charcoal and lemon. Oh, does it? Yes. Look right here.
Yes. Pepsodent Charcoal has 2 of nature's powerful whitening ingredients. With and lemon essence, it removes stains
Good evening. Welcome to the business segment on News 360. I am Menu Afol. A senior fellow at the Africa Policy Lens, Dr. Eric Boachi-Yadom, has described the recent surge in transport inflation as generally worrying, warning that persistent price pressures in the sector could undermine national economic stability. The Ghana Statistical Service reported that annual inflation rose to 5.3% in June 2026. Now, this increase was primarily driven by the transport sector, where services inflation reached 9.4%, largely due to rising local bus and church fares.
If we look at transport, which sits on top with an inflation of about 9.1%, I think it's generally worrying. And we were hoping that prices of transport, transport price will generally be stable, but it appears not to be so. And we know that transport is largely fueled by fuel prices, and fuel prices, a key component is the exchange rate. So government should focus on trying to ensure that there's a stable exchange rate, in terms of how BDCs are able to get the dollar or foreign currencies to import the fuel back here. Yes, it is refreshing to know TOR is working, and we are hoping that enough investment is made in TOR to be able to operate at a full-scale capacity to ensure that the fuel we need here is refined here rather than exporting and importing it back in terms of high prices. Another thing that we need to know, from the bulletin is the disparity in terms of inflation reported across the region. Product or many shops, or companies sell items at a uniform price across the country.
Away from that, the Ghana Chamber of Mines says greater certainty over the renewal of mining leases will be critical if Ghana is to maintain its position as a leading mining destination in Africa. The call comes amid growing uncertainty in the industry following government efforts to secure greater local ownership and increase the value and retain from the country's mineral sources.
Speaking at the Mining and Development Forum organized by the Chamber, its Chief Executive Officer, Engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, warned that prolonged uncertainty could weaken investor confidence. He said if concerns over lease renewals persist, Ghana risks losing investment to neighboring countries which are also competing to attract mining capital.
We believe that we should be able to negotiate what we want, to make it a win-win such that the Ghanaian will benefit from these investments when they come, that there will be value retention, there will be development of our country. The interesting thing is that my colleagues at the Côte d'Ivoire Chamber of Mines, they have an objective to be #1 gold producer in the next 10 years. Where do you think they are going to take it from? And how do you think they are going to take it from? So it is important that we make sure that this issue about the security of tenure of leases is something that we still continue to guarantee.
Meanwhile, the president of the National House of Chiefs and paramount chief of the Sefwi Ahwiaso traditional area, Ojiahoho Yao JB II, has called for the share of mining royalties allocated to traditional authorities to be increased to nearly 300%. He argued that the current allocation is inadequate and does not reflect the role traditional authorities play in managing communities affected by mining activities.
Mining is going on in an area, let's say 1 month or a quarter is 1 million, and only 10,400 comes to the traditional area. And don't forget, that amount, the said Nana should use it to maintain his status as a chief. And aside of that, Nananum also gives scholarship. They help the communities, the aged, and so on and so forth. So that figure is woefully inadequate. And we are demanding 30% of the royalties instead of the 8% that they are paying now.
We'll take your attention now to EcoBank Ghana as it has launched the Rising Leaders Initiative to equip young Africans with leadership skills and opportunities needed to shape the continent's future. As Africa faces an increasing demand for innovative and ethical leadership, management says investing in the continent's future is crucial to raising transformational leaders.
The event, Managing Director of Ecobank Ghana, Abnose Poku, highlighted that the initiative will equip young people with the confidence, capability, and leadership skills needed to thrive in an increasingly dynamic world.
For us, it's a long-term commitment to identifying, developing, and connecting the next generation of African leaders through mentorship, practical learning, meaningful conversations, and access to experienced leaders. We hope to equip young people with the confidence and capability to lead wherever they find themselves.
The head of marketing and brand at Ecobank Ghana PLC, Regina Ofori, emphasized that the program goes beyond inspiration.
We are working with young people to make sure that we take them from that ideation to places where we can actually see these ideas come to life. And so for us, it's not about getting people in roles, different titles and all that. However basic the idea is, however fundamental the passion is, we want to support young people to make sure that they can realize their full potential and they can consistently practice with that, and then we can see the power in them come to life.
The Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, commended Ecobank Ghana for the initiative and urged beneficiaries to make good use of the opportunity. As the first cohort prepares to begin the structured 6-month program, Ecobank Ghana says it remains committed to transforming the potential of young people into impactful leadership for Ghana and the rest of Africa.
We'll end the segment with updates from the forex and commodities markets. I am Menu Afo.
It doesn't have to be a dream. Game Park is giving out a brand new Toyota Hilux in the new Play, Win, Drive promo. All you need to do is dial *946# and play Pick 1 or Pick 4 daily. Stake 50 Ghana cedis per day to earn 1 entry. And every extra 50 Ghana cedis gets you 5 more entries. The more you play, the more your chances of winning big in the grand draw. You get to drive home the new Toyota Hilux. So, play the game you already love. Win the way you already win. Drive away in something extraordinary.
World Cup fever is here! And Universal Merchant Bank, the official banking partner of the GFA and the Ghana Black Stars, is probably back in the dreams of all Ghanaians with seamless banking services and opportunities. This World Cup season, as the Ghana Black Stars chase glory, you can win with UMB. Open a new UMB account or reactivate your existing account today to enjoy free data bundles and other awesome rewards. To get started with convenient and reliable banking, visit any of our 35 branches across Ghana. Go to our website, myumbbank.com, or download the UMB Speed app from the Play Store or App Store.
who have lived in Spain for at least 5 months before the end of 2025 and have no criminal record was open for applications from April 16 to June 30.
Nigeria says it will seek compensation from South Africa for its citizens who have left the country following recent protests targeting undocumented migrants. Acting High Commissioner to South Africa, Alexander Ajayi, said on local television on Tuesday that the government had begun documenting businesses and properties left behind by Nigerians. Nigeria's Acting High Commissioner said he had asked all of those who had left South Africa to document very accurately those things they were leaving behind in terms of businesses, in terms of even cars, movable and immovable properties. The South African authorities say those who have been flown home were in the country illegally, though this is disputed by Nigeria.
Well, that's our package for you tonight. Thank you so much for spending the last hour with us. There's more news on our website, 3news.com. I am Noble Crosby Allen.
And I am Portia Gabo. Up next is the pre-match discussions for the match between Spain and Austria.